My name is Bobby Spiegel. I'm the president and CEO for the Corona Chamber of Commerce. I'm excited that you're on the call today. For those that are brand new, I just wanted to explain the process and what we do. Every single Wednesday, we give you a brief update, a synopsis of things. Today may be a little bit longer. There's some integral parts that are going to be shared. What we have is, this is a committee. It's called the Legislative Action Committee. It is chaired by a former state assembly member who is retired. His name is Jeff Miller, and I will be introducing him and giving a little background in just a minute. We've contracted with an organization that is run by a gentleman by the name of Jeff Gibson. He will be introduced later on through Jeff Miller. There will be some other announcements and some other updates on this call. And as all of our calls are, they are recorded and you can look them up on our YouTube channels. So I just want to welcome you, say thank you for being part of the Corona Chamber and plugging in today. And again, now I would like to just properly introduce our host and our MC and our chair of our Legislative Action Committee, and that is the Honorable Jeff Miller. Jeff is a former state assembly member, served in the state of California, working with both sides of the aisles, focused on business issues and making sure that people that never owned a business could understand all the challenges that you go through on a daily basis, from payroll to paying an electric bill or a gas bill, to just normal business stuff going on. Jeff also was an elected city council member here in the city of Corona, served as mayor a couple of different times, and all along he's been running his very successful independent business, which is an insurance agency with farmers. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honorable Jeff Miller.
Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate the update. It always causes me to blush every time you do this. So thank you. We've got a lot to unpack today, and I got a few folks I want to give an opportunity for some quick announcements or anything, things that are going on in their end of the world. And I'm going to ask Paul Bender to start it out. And then, but before that, I want to just thank our sponsor for today's meeting is Vulcan Materials Company. With over 360 active facilities. 360, wow. Vulcan is the nation's largest producer of construction aggregates. They produce crushed stone, sand, gravel, asphalt, ready-mix concrete. Their mission is to provide a quality product and service which consistently meets their customers' expectations. Thank you, Vulcan Materials Company, for sponsoring the meeting. And if anybody wants to tour that facility, it's quite impressive. That I can assure you. There's a chat button on the bottom. If you want to send any messages into us, use the chat button. And with that, I was just going to introduce the chair of the board, the head honcho, Paul Bender.
No, I bow down to Bobby Spiegel like everybody else. No, thank you so much for giving me a chance to say hello. Just wanted to kind of give a shout out to all of us who are continuing to work and hustle during these challenging times. It just feels like there's a new thing, right? Every week, worldwide, now that we're also connected through the internet and the news media. But I also wanted to just kind of give a shout out to anybody employing people right now or managing or leading. It's obviously a time of great change. And last week, the Wall Street Journal came out with an article on quiet quitting. Some of you may have heard about it. It's what we used to call a go slow in England, where it's a TikTok kind of movement of just doing the bare minimum, either only doing your 40 hours and no more, or not going over and above. So it's kind of like just maintaining that line, not over, not under. And it's kind of really scary for some of us, because we grew up, you know, kind of with the philosophy that when you take on a job or a task, you give it your all and you leave it all on the field. So it's a weird thing. And at one point, as my daughter said, it's a lot of the people doing it are corporate employees, part of these big multinational companies, but they're with TikTok and social media, they have a platform now where, as my daughter said, the average person without necessarily any degree or credentials or qualifications now feel that the same kind of thing applies to them. So it's a time of great change and movement in companies, and I'm feeling it too internally, but also because we're in that field. So that's why I would encourage you all. Our very own Barry Knight is doing a leadership seminar at Eagle Glen. Bobby, you've probably got, I think it's September the 13th, but he's actually going to be addressing some of these issues. He's a bit ahead of the curve in terms of what he's seeing across the country. So
if anyone's interested in that, please let Anthony know and we'll get that information out to you. It's an excellent program. The Chamber is going to have 5 of our board members attending as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Bobby. And with that, I will hand it back to you, Jeff Miller. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul Bender. Thank you for everything you're doing as the chair of the board. I've got a couple more announcements. I want to go to Dr. Gramling from Cal Baptist University. And then Annette Demont has a quick announcement from the Riverside County Office of Education. Dr. Gramling, what's going on at CBU?
Well, thank you so much, Jeff. We are in exciting times. This is our commencement week. We've expanded so much at the university that we now have commencements 3 times a year. And over the summer, we actually have 3 ceremonies, which will accommodate, we expect somewhere just north of 10,000 total attendees across these various commencement events. I'm very excited to share that yesterday, we had the largest master's and doctoral hooding in the history of the JAB School of Business. Nearly 100 candidates and almost 300 attendees joined us at the Harvest Church just off campus here in an amazing ceremony across our MBA, Master of Science in Information Technology, Master of Arts in Organizational Leadership, and 2 doctorate programs with a graduate in the Doctorate in Business Administration program. We were very excited by that particular event, and we have amazing things happening here, with perhaps the most significant being the coming launch of the Family Business Center. We've been working on this for almost a year, a center dedicated to helping family businesses with the unique challenges that they face, very different from businesses where family members are not also senior executives. And so with that launch, we expect to be in the fall of this year. We've been planning and continuing to gain sponsors and have been very successful in building connections with a number of the cities, including Riverside, of course, San Bernardino, Fontana, and Corona. So thank you very much for giving me a chance to share some thoughts, and I look forward to the update today.
Thank you. That sounds like an amazing program. Maybe down the road here, you can give us quick updates and let us know how it's going and how the chamber can actually participate. Thank you, Dr. Gramling. Annette Demont from the Riverside County Office of Education.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Jeff. The Superintendent's Office at Riverside County Office of Education has decided to re-energize the Adopt a School program for the county. If any businesses are interested in adopting a school near you, this goes anywhere from elementary all the way to high school. We are energizing that again in order to support, because the students are going back into live classes again. And thank God, getting off the internet and getting back in class and where they belong. So there are many ways for a business to support a school. It doesn't have to be monetary at all. You can participate in school events and show appreciation for student achievements and staff performances. You can volunteer on career day to speak to classes about owning and operating a business and what that is actually like and what that entails. Of course, donations of funds and items are always appreciated, but this is not necessary to be an adoptee for a school. Inviting students to perform at company functions where appropriate. Have them come see your business, have them see what you do, have them want to stay in Corona and Norco area and support the businesses here by not moving away once they get out of high school. So that's super important. Also advertising support of the school and displaying an Adopt a School certificate and or banner at your business, which our COE will supply to you. So if you're interested in any of that, please get a hold of me. I'd be happy to give you more information, and this is ongoing. So if you need more time, or you need to get, things aligned with your business, or give school a little bit more time to get back in shape, We are always here, and we're going to continue to motivate and promote this situation to help our local schools, especially in Corona and Norco area. Thank you very much, Jeff, for that time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Annette. That also sounds like an amazing program. Please continue to give us updates on how it goes.
Absolutely.
And see how we can help participate. I think we could get some interest in that from the membership. I do have a few other folks I want to go to, but I want to get into the program because we've got a lot to uncover. So I'd like to introduce Anthony Maldonado to give a few chamber updates.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Just a few quick updates for you all today. The first is our Good Morning Corona event coming up this Friday. Check-in starts at 6:30 at Eagle Glen Golf Club, and we officially kick off at 7 a.m. As you know, this month it will be a very special program. We are honoring our local police and fire departments. They do so much for our community, and we are really honored to have a great group of men and women looking out for us here in Corona. So register now and come join us Friday. The next event that I want to touch on is the 11th Annual Women's Leadership Conference. Please be aware that the location has changed to North Point Church here in Corona. So it will no longer be held at Crossroads. It is now at North Point Church here in Corona. It's going to be a great day of inspiration, and we are excited to have over 550 people joining us. If you have not gotten your tickets yet, please do so now. Exhibitor spaces are also almost sold out. So if you would like a table, please contact us here at the chamber or visit the website that I will put in the chat for more information. Lastly, please, if you do enjoy these business briefings or any of the other programs or events that the chamber puts on, please consider leaving us a Google review. Your reviews not only provide us feedback, but also help us reach a larger audience. So either scan the QR code on your screen now or simply Google the Corona Chamber of Commerce and leave us a review. It is greatly appreciated. And with that, I want to kick that back over to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Anthony. Appreciate that. Let's get right into it. I'm going to give a quick introduction to Jeff Gibson. Jeff is our consultant. He owns Occidental Communications Group. For 35 years, he has specialized in political campaigns, government affairs, government relations, and he has a very important and interesting update for us today on what's going on in our world. Jeff Gibson.
Hey guys, how are you? So good morning. I hope everybody's cool on this already warm August day. Let's just jump right into it. Well, let's start from the top. The legislature is in gut and amend season, so I hope you guys put out all your decorations. Gut and amend means that the legislature has been working quietly with the governor and interest groups over the course of a year to come up with the legislation that they really want to pass. But they know if it sees the light of day in a committee hearing or in any sort of public process as required by law, that it would never be able to get through the policy process. And so we wait until August. We wait until the second week in August, and then we actually put the legislation out there that we want to pass. So the legislature has now announced with the governor some pre-made deals that will then that we will be getting into here on top of one extra bill that just made it out of Assembly Appropriations and is headed towards the floor of the State Assembly. It's very important, both to our membership specifically and then to all employers in California. So let's jump into these two items. First is a bill that we've already opposed, SB 1162, which is a mandatory reporting of employer data aggregated by a number of different issues, different demographic data that you are not allowed to use when you are determining your employee pay packages. So it would be illegal for you to decide to pay people based upon ethnicity, pay people based upon their choice of gender, or any other sort of discriminatory demographic. Yet the state of California is very close to requiring most employers to then grade or to aggregate all of their pay information based upon that data, which in itself could be the profession of liability, present that data to the state, which again, most of that data is confidential. And then the state would publish that in a database, both for regulators and for private attorney general action. Private attorney general action means that you may not be an employee of Acme company, but you may go through their employer data that is found on the state website and decide, you know what, I just don't think that they are paying their employees fairly. I am going to take a private attorney general action and sue them. And private attorney general actions are based on it. We've gone through them here in the Corona Chamber with ADA access and a number of different issues where there have actually been lawyers that have gone through with in one case, the guy was caught with an inaccurate measuring device to show people on the spot that their business did not comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act access, at which point he would demand thousands of dollars in damages for an inaccurate yardstick. And in many cases got them from people that just didn't want the disturbance in the store at the time or other issues. Well, this is taking that system, which Senator Roth has sponsored legislation with us to eliminate the opportunities for fraud. It takes that system and expands it out into every single employee decision that you make. And so you as an employer would have to start thinking about, well, shoot, I have 12 employees and I've never thought of them as being different people, but now I have to think of them as, am I paying all of them evenly based upon ethnicity, based upon sex, gender, personal choices, the entire list of items that we have as a state have decided that you cannot act in any discriminatory way. And so this is a very, very difficult bill. It has passed through the Senate. It is waiting for action on the Assembly floor. And we, along with the California Chamber of Commerce and a number of different business groups, have a strong oppose on it. And so we're working diligently to have this bill killed. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Thank you, Jeff. There are no questions at this time.
Okay.
Hey, Jeff,
Yes.
Jeff, I know Paul Bender has some interest in this this bill. Paul Bender, do you have any comments that you'd like to add?
Just that, thank you, Jeff Gibson, for that report. Just that we, as Jeff said, I absolutely believe that we should be focusing on equity and making sure that there's pay parity across classes and genders and that kind of thing. But like our industry, it would actually shut us down in staffing and employment, because as Jeff said, we don't actually collect that data in the first place. And our ability to collect it right now is very limited. So even if we had everybody fill out a form, they are allowed to not disclose. So there are other ways of ensuring that we're making progress as a state on pay, on equal opportunity, on inclusion and diversity without this very cumbersome process, because right now we are not set up for it. And it would actually, I believe, would drive a lot of us out of business that work very hard to ensure that there is more equal opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you, Paul Bender. We will definitely be working on taking some action on this bill. Jeff, not to put you on the spot, you said it made it out of the Senate floor?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you know, or can you find out how our representative voted?
Sure. I will look that up while we are going on to the next package of bills, which have not been actually introduced yet, but that's okay. They only affect every single person that is a licensed driver in the state of California and anyone who uses any form of energy. So to your first question, Jeff, it passed out of the Assembly Appropriations on August 11th. It passed out of and our as Assemblymember Cervantes does not serve on that committee. She has not had the opportunity to vote on it in the assembly yet. So she'll have an opportunity when it gets to the floor. And on the Senate floor, Senator Roth voted for it. And so let me go through, and as we walk through, excuse me one more moment. Yes, he had one opportunity to vote for it, and he voted for it. It passed out of the Senate on a 27-9 with 4 members not voting. So it passed out by a fairly healthy majority. All the Republicans voted no. Almost all of the Democrat caucus voting yes. And so there we go.
Well, maybe we can swing that vote when it goes back to the Senate.
It's something that we're very, very concentrated on and hopeful for. So now moving on to, we've talked about it in previous on previous calls, the governor's massive CEQA expansion. CEQA is the California Environmental Quality Act. It also encumbers the California Endangered Species Act, climate change legislation as well. The governor has proposed a 5-point plan. One of them that he has decided to introduce by regulation, so it has will not come before any sort of public hearing at all, and that is the banning of 30% of the oil produced in the state of California. Most of the oil wells that would be eliminated are actually owned by school districts and public agencies, and provide hundreds of millions of dollars of annual tax payments to those agencies, Beverly Hills High School being one of them, Redondo Beach High School being another, the Huntington Beach Union High School District being another, that receive hundreds of millions of dollars in funding from drilling activities, which are basically free of any sort of environmental issue at all, because as we know, we live in the state of California, and we repeat often, we live in the state of California. Even though the well looks like it's from 1930, it is not from 1930. So that's one. Two, it essentially eliminates all energy production in the state of California that would currently be slated. That's the elimination of about 250,000 jobs, averaging about $85,000 per job. So again, I graduated from a series of California public schools, but that does seem like a lot of money and impact, so that we can then turn around and as we've talked about in the past, partner with countries like Russia, Saudi Arabia, and others that don't share our climate goals at all in the pursuit of energy. So that is a regulation that is up for consideration by the GEM, GEM, which is the geologic regulator in the state of California. And we will be monitoring that as that process goes on. Those regulations are supposed to be published before the end of the year. The second, and the one that's going to hit us immediately, would by 2030 effectively ban 17 million additional vehicles. That includes every single delivery truck in the state of currently operating in the state of California by 2030, with no available technology to replace any of those supply chain vehicles that would no longer be allowed to operate in California, and with no compensation for banning those vehicles. So almost every single passenger vehicle, and truck and delivery truck would be banned by 2030 if the governor's package passes. The governor's package is yet to be introduced to the legislature, but he has demanded that it be passed before August 31st. The only way that it can be passed in that period of time would be for the majority in both houses to agree that this is the way that the governor should be putting policy together, that this policy does not need a committee hearing, and that this policy is that it's appropriate to consider it and to implement it this way, and to go forward with zeroing out the ability of Californians to even transfer cars amongst. So if you had a car, you couldn't even transfer it to another member of the family, for instance, because you would not be able to operate in the state of California. You would have to put it on some sort of flatbed truck that is zero emission and transport it outside the state of California. And that would be law. So this is not a proposal from a small group. This has actually been proposed by the governor and has been accepted by the legislature for action. Secondarily, there's we would be, it's called raising our ambition on climate change gas reduction from the previously the state had a goal to, by 2020, get us back to the climate change emission level of 1990. We achieved that in less than 20 years using natural gas, and then actually went well below that. So we're 60% ahead on our climate change goals by the transfer to natural gas. Unfortunately, natural gas was rejected by this governor to be part of the climate change portfolio that he was looking at, and so therefore natural gas fired facilities have been taken offline even quicker than nuclear. The governor has now reversed himself, is today approving a $1 billion loan on top of a proposed $17 billion rescue plan of the Diablo Canyon nuclear energy facility to keep it running for the next, at least, originally it was going to be for 18 months. Now they're looking at 20 years. So it's basically a permanent proposal on top of an expansion, as we've discussed, of the use of coal-fired energy in the state of California, which makes us the largest buyer of coal spot energy on the planet. And with that, the governor stepped forward and said that he wants each of us by 2030 to reduce even further our use of any sort of human activity that would increase climate change gases by 37.5%. So if you were at the state level, it's perfectly fine to be buying energy from coal-fired plants, and it's perfectly fine to be going out and buying energy from Saudi Arabia, from Nigeria, from the Sultan of Brunei, all of which have horrible human rights agendas and records. But for you and I, we have to switch out all of our electric lights every 5 years to more efficient ones, and hope that that gets us to a 37.5% net decrease. In addition to fighting over the 3.5 million electric vehicles that could fit on the current grid, electric grid, which we have not expanded significantly in over 25 years. So in any case, that is what we are fighting against. I wish I had better news. We are going to Washington, D.C., September 19th to the 22nd to discuss several of these policies and more. And I'm happy to take any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Jeff. There are no questions.
Study in the silence. Oh, Well, and I literally stunned Jeff Miller into silence because he's on mute.
Let me just say
Thank
that Jeff had prepared us for a very long explanation of things, and you just buttoned it up in a short period of time, and I appreciate that. Jeff Miller, back to you.
Thank you, Bobby. Okay, Jeff, anything else or?
Nope, that's it so far.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. We'll keep a close eye on these. I do want to get the meeting wrapped up because we're way over, but I appreciate Brad West from our Assembly members office being on the call. Brad, is there any updates from Ms. Cervantes?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Just a couple things. One, I wanted to inform you all that we're really excited. Assemblymember Sabrina Cervantes has been elected chair of the California Latino Legislative Caucus. So she's making history as the first chair to come from our region, which is big news, as well as the first openly LGBTQ Latina and millennial. So we're very happy about this and very happy of what we can do in the Latino caucus. Secondarily, I'm pleased to announce that Assemblymember Cervantes' bill AB 1619 has been signed by the governor. This was regarding voter registration and signature comparison. So it requires that affidavits of voter registration, both paper and electronic, inform an individual that their signature that's used on the affidavit may be compared with the signature provided on the return envelope of their vote by mail ballot to see whether or not it's a real vote. And once again, this bill was graciously supported by the Corona Chamber of Commerce, and we really appreciate that support. So glad we got it signed into law. That's all I have right now. Thank you.
Great news, Brad. Thanks. Thanks for that update. All right, with that, I was just going to put Linda Pearson on the spot, see if there's any COVID updates from Corona Regional Medical Center. Linda, are you?
Yes, I
with
am
us?
here. I am here. So really no startling news. COVID just kind of does a up and down roller coaster ride. We're a little up this week and mainly with ICU patients, which we do not want to see. But other than that, it's not alarming and just be safe. It seems that half have vaccinations and half don't. So this new strain is just, I think, a little more contagious, but the symptoms are not bad. So just be safe.
Great. Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
And lastly, I just want to thank Peppermint Ridge for jumping on the call. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate you guys. And I have to take personal privilege because I see Andrew's on the call from Ontario Reign. For those of you that know or don't know, I have a long history in the sport of hockey, and always interested in what's going on with the local hockey teams around us. Andrew, anything going on? Season's coming up.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. We're about 58 days from season start, so it's going to be here before we know it. Some exciting things. Got some new players for the Kings, so it's going to definitely be an exciting season next season.
Great. And just for clarification, the Ontario Reign is the Los Angeles Kings minor league team. All right. Thank you very much, Andrew. All right. I'd like to thank all the folks I want to thank have already spoken, except our former mayor, former council member, Jason Scott. Thank you for jumping on the call. With that, I hope to see everybody this Friday at Good Morning Corona. Should be an exciting meeting, and we will adjourn to August 24th. So everybody be safe out there, be cool out there, and we'll hopefully see you Friday. If not then, we'll see you on the 24th here at our next Zoom meeting. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, everyone.